You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Johnson.
What is up? Welcome to Game Control Rewind. I'm Patrick Dees, and today we are discussing all that is Dishonored. We're not talking Dishonored, are we? No, we're talking The Walking Dead. We did what Dishonored a couple weeks ago. Got Dishonored on my brain. We're gonna talk a little bit Walking Dead, and we're gonna go decision by decision. Across the table, I am joined by Miss Raychul Moore.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Good. I'm great. Ready to talk about some zombies and choices and things.
Who is sitting next to you?
Corey.
Yeah, excellent. So we're going to take some time today, and we're going to go through all 5. In every episode, there's 5 critical decisions to discuss, right?
Don't
so we're
forget to introduce yourself, Mr. Dees.
Patrick Dees. Didn't I?
You might have.
I still got Dishonored on the brain. I don't even know who I am anymore. We're going to discuss all of these really impactful decisions. But before we do, so first of all, we're going to spoil the hell out of this game if we haven't said that just yet. So we're going to go through decision by decision. But I wanted to hear from you guys what you thought about this game. I know, Kaori, you're fresh off of this game. You just literally beat this. How are you feeling? What kind of headspace are you in? Because this is a mind job of a game.
I want season 2 right now.
I believe that.
I want to know who those 2 people were at the end.
Okay.
And hopefully that will be revealed. We'll see.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I played 400 Days.
Yep.
And it definitely a different kind of feel. So it didn't fill that void at all.
Raychul, what was your impression of the game? You probably beat this some time ago.
Oh yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of the better choose your own adventure games we've had in a while.
Absolutely.
Still just a little disappointed that the choices weren't as impactful as I thought they should have been. We kind of were funneled into the same endings and a lot of the same outcomes, no matter what we chose. That's a little disappointing, but I thought the characters were pretty solid.
So I disagree with that a little bit. You're right that you'll see this is very much a funnel. Everybody ends up at the same place regardless, right? But they did a masterful job of making you feel like your decisions were impactful. I sweated like decisions.
I did too, and I felt like I was making really important choices until I started talking to other people about what they chose, and they would choose something completely different. I'm like, oh wait, we had the same kind of outcome though. True,
but the power's in that decision, right? It's in that moment when you're sweating. And I thought they did a really cool job of 2 things. So one, you guys played Mass Effect, correct?
Yes.
Okay, not so much. Kaori's just shaking her head. She's disgusted with the thought of playing Mass Effect. Rachel, you played Mass Effect. So they did a really good job in this of actually articulating what you say, you know, if you've got that dialogue choices.
Yeah.
And it's really close to what you choose on screen, as opposed to sometimes Mass Effect, it's kind of the spirit of what you're saying, right?
Right.
Right, they disagree, and he's like, I remember Mass Effect, I think it's 2, when the reporter gets in your face and she's yelling at you about something, and I chose, hey, disagree with her, and Shepard punched her in the face, and I'm like,
whoa.
No part of my Shepard's gonna punch this woman in the face. So they did a really good job of having Lee, I feel like, actually articulate what's on screen. But they introduced that mechanic where, you guys remember that where it's timed, right?
I hated that because I had to take some time to read. Like, there's other things going on in my life. I can't focus exactly on the sentence going on all the time. So it didn't give me enough time to really think about what I wanted to do.
No, but this is the Zombocalypse. You don't have time. This is the most important thing. So I thought that was an amazing mechanic.
I played on my iPad, and I would accidentally press the wrong answer. I didn't want to say that.
Oh, interesting.
And I would just, occasionally I would rewind it so I can redo it again, but then I got tired of it, so.
Yeah, if you chose the wrong one, you'd rewind it.
Like,
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so.
I loved that tension. I loved that I couldn't just sit, phone a friend.
Yeah, for some decisions, I think time was good. But when you're just in a casual conversation, sometimes you need to think about, like, even if I'm talking to somebody in real life, sometimes I'll be like, all right, and I got to think about what I'm going to say next.
And it's going,
yeah,
slower.
The game didn't give me enough time sometimes to even read all of my choices.
Okay. I also like the fact that they introduced an option where it'd be 3 different things, and then there's an ellipses. Like, just say nothing, because sometimes you're going to see things that are just so terrible.
I never said nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I always answered.
Always.
Yeah.
And there was a point or 2 where you see something just so terrible that anything that you say afterward is going to sound trite. So I was just like, okay.
But, I mean, you never want to say nothing. I mean, you always feel like you have to respond to get a better outcome. That's how I felt.
You know, for example, for one point, and we'll get into it later because we're going to start jumping into these critical decisions that we made. The one point, do you remember later down the road where you find that backstory of the women in that town that were forced to have abortions because they weren't friendly to kids?
Yeah.
And when you find that actual dialogue, I just had nothing to say. Anything that I feel after, I mean, it goes back to illustrating that people are the real monsters in a zombie apocalypse, and that I felt like anything I said would be trite. There's no words that I had to console these people.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you kind of could say something that might hopefully change your reaction to little things along the way. That's why I felt like it was important to answer instead of let the ellipses go.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
And
I always answered as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be a nightmare to program around you saying nothing, right? Like what those
Yeah.
responses would be.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting they gave you that choice. And I also really, I think that a new mechanic to this game was, do you remember when you'd say something and I'd say, Carrie, I like your blouse or something along those lines, and it would pop up on the screen and say, Carrie will remember that.
Yeah,
It always stressed me out. Like, what are you remembering?
I know.
Doesn't appreciate this.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate you.
I would refresh.
So I always really like those things. Well, so if you haven't played the game, you know, all these decisions may be lost on you. We'll try and create some context, but what we're going to do is jump into the 5 critical ones, and then we're going to say what we decided, why we decided it, and then what the general populace did.
Right,
So
yeah.
where we fit in. So the first major decision is we get to Herschel's farm. Do you guys remember this?
Yep. Yep.
We get to Herschel's farm. He's very inquisitive about why you have a young girl with you. Clearly not your daughter, but there's some sort of relationship there. You have an opportunity to be really straightforward with Herschel or just fabricate something. What did you guys decide? Carrie, what did you get?
I decided, I don't remember the specifics, but I decided to be honest. And throughout the game, I was honest most of the time.
So that was kind of your ethos. You were always going to be honest wherever it required it.
Yeah, because I was so scared that being a liar, you'd catch up and then they'd be more mad at you.
Okay.
Which they would be, because I lied at first, and then it was like, Herschel's going to remember you lying. I was like, reset.
You actually went back and changed your decision.
Did. I've always
Such
been
a
bad.
cheater.
I've always been bad with Choose Your Own Adventure. Even books, I would go through and I'd look at what that was, and like, oh, I don't want that ending, so I'd choose the other option. I suck at,
No, well,
I cheat.
The books I totally understand, which is interesting. If you go back and read a Choose Your Own Adventure from when we were kids, they were just like tools to help us be more ethical. Because you remember, you'd be like, you can save the puppy or you can steal the wallet. If you
Indiana
stole
Jones
the
ones were
wallet,
the
you were
best.
always dead.
Young Indiana
Never think about it
Jones
that
Choose
way.
Your Own Adventure books were the best.
Just do the right thing and you're going to get a good ending in a Choose Your Own Adventure book.
Yeah.
So you guys both were straight up with Herschel.
She lied.
I lied the first time, but
You
I
lied
did
the
go
first
back
time.
and change
So your
it.
canonical was that you were honest. And why did you do that? Because you thought it was going to catch up to you.
Because I didn't want any enemies. It's the zombie apocalypse. I need as many friends as I can. I needed to stay on this guy's farm for a little while, so I needed him to like me.
Okay.
And I totally wanted to bang his daughter.
Excellent. Motivates true motivations. I did not expect to hear that sentence this show. Fantastic. So I skirted it. At first I wasn't sure how I was going to play it, and my indecisiveness registered that I lied despite overarchingly I was pretty honest about it. It said I lied. But you guys
That
and
lying game.
63% of people across this country were honest with Herschel. I found that interesting.
Very nice.
Well, it's irrelevant because he doesn't last long in your group.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't linger too long on his.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch the show?
Yes.
It said
Yes.
season 2, we were on Herschel's farm just way too long. I
Yeah.
was glad we didn't linger here.
Season 2 is why I didn't watch season 3.
I hate
You need
the
to go back and
show.
fix that.
I hate
John,
the show.
Go back and fix it.
No.
It gets fantastic.
Read
about
the
the comic
comics.
book? Yeah.
Read
Okay,
the comics.
all right. So we're on Herschel's farm. There's a breakthrough in the fence, right? Do you guys remember this? What's
Yes,
going on?
Yes.
It's when a zombie breaks through and it's Herschel's son, and then Duck gets involved somehow.
He's on the tractor.
No, wait, Duck. Yeah. There's the son that's getting attacked by zombies, but then something's going on with Duck as well, and you have to choose between the two boys.
Both of them are in perilous danger. One of them is going to die, and you get a choice to save which one, right? And this is complicated because you're on Herschel's farm, but that's a child. Who do you choose? Rachel?
I chose to save Duck, and I regretted that decision for the rest of the game.
Why?
Really? Oh, I'm
It's a-
curious to see what happened.
What a annoying child.
You're
What
a monster.
I am. Wait till you hear my thoughts about the ending.
I'm looking forward to this.
I'm going to make some enemies.
Good.
But yeah, what an annoying child. That kid, he should have died. I should have let him
Well,
die.
I think he had mental issues, and that was a thing. So,
Yeah, they
Survival of the fittest.
allude to it,
Yeah.
right? Kasha says something along the lines of like, he's a good kid, but he's a little slow.
Yeah.
That was obvious. Yeah, I hated Duck.
he wasn't
God.
annoying.
I loved Duck.
I didn't love him.
I loved
but
him. Who did you save, Carrie?
Kids are not to have during the zombie
I
apocalypse.
saved the older gentleman because I knew, oh yeah, Duck's dad's
son-
gonna go
the
for
older
it.
son?
Yeah.
Oh, so you felt that Kenny was going to save his son. Your responsibility is just to Herschel on the farm.
And then Herschel didn't get mad at me when time came for him to yell.
He didn't.
No.
Oh,
He's
interesting.
Like, I understand you saved my son. Thank you for trying. He was like, cool about it.
Huh. So I went for Duck. I felt and it was a knee jerk, and then I almost regretted it because honestly, Sean's going to be more useful in a zombie apocalypse than Duck, right? Than a little slow kid. See, that's wise. It's wise. I saved Duck, and despite a save bug error, so I don't know. And going into episode 3, my save got really screwed up. So the first couple of episodes, Kenny was really very appreciative of me having saved Duck, but by episode 3, he's like, and you didn't even try and save my son, and I'm like, you can go to hell, man. I saved your kid.
In the last episode, that time where he's like going to join you or not, he listed all these things I'd done against him, and I hadn't. Those were the different choices I had made, and I was like, what the hell?
If I had a level 1 criticism against the game, was that save system. You and I were not among the minority there, Rachel. A lot of people suffered from that. So,
but with this decision with Duck is another example of how what you chose meant nothing, because no matter what, the son was going to die and Duck was going to make it through. It just depended on who was actually going to like you at the end of the.
It just has an effect on how Kenny reacts with you.
Right. But the same people were going to live and die in that scene, no matter what. And that was disappointing to me.
Kenny's a complex relationship.
He is hard.
In a ways that I don't think games have done before. So.
I got him to be my best friend.
I was constantly trying to make him love me.
Me and him were buddies until that last bit where he had to choose, and he ditched me, and I was like, what the hell, man?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Well, and speaking of Kenny, he's our next decision. So do you guys remember, so we get into the drugstore, right? Is that where we are? We're at the drugstore.
Yes.
We're at the drugstore.
Yeah.
There's a concern that Duck may be bitten. You can side with Kenny, or you can side with the huge, and I'm spacing his name right now, the other guy with that other group, the
Larry?
huge, abrasive,
Thank
you, it is Larry. A real
the
abrasive.
nerdy guy.
No, the big, angry old man.
Oh, yeah.
It is Larry. Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, it was his daughter I wanted to bang, not
Lily.
Herschel's.
Okay.
Okay. It's one of those ladies.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious that Duck wasn't bitten. So,
Did you think? Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know why he was being outrageous, so I sided with Kenny right then and there.
But he was bitten.
He wasn't at that time.
Not at that point.
Oh, no? Okay.
Rachel, who did you side with here? Because this is a volatile situation.
I think I sided with Kenny, because I think Larry, or whoever that older guy was he was overreacting just a bit anyways.
Right, and I think there is a certain level of abrasiveness that you should probably have in the zombie apocalypse when you meet new strangers. But I thought he was an asshole out of the gate. I had no problem siding with my friend Kenny here, 100%.
And it felt so good every time you saw something that says Kenny appreciated this, or Kenny will remember this.
Sure.
And you're like, yes, Kenny, remember this.
Again, that's the beauty of this game, and I'm glad that you played through this at the rate that you did.
Yeah.
This next decision was really where I understood that this game was something special. So, guys, do you remember Irene?
That is, I'm trying to, I have all my stuff
Are you talking
here.
about the reporter? That's not her name.
No, Irene is at the hotel, and she's clearly been bitten. All she wants is that gun. You can assist her in her suicide or deny her that fact.
Oh, yes. Barely. And I just played it, and I barely remember her.
Oh, no, okay, I remember what you're talking about. She's outside, or she's the chick that runs outside.
She's at the second floor of the hotel.
We had to go save her. She was in the hotel. She was locked in the thing. She was like, go away, go away.
Yeah, she kept saying, leave. She doesn't. You have a choice to assist her suicide.
Right.
And I couldn't believe a game was making me choose this.
I did it.
Well, it gets worse.
I did it.
Yeah, it gets much worse, but they're setting the table for how just fucked things are going to be.
Well, isn't this the same game where the chick runs outside and she's yelling and screaming and she's attracting all the zombies, and you have the option to shoot her or not?
That's episode 2. That's the first decision we're going to get to. That is also a terrible decision.
There's a lot of rough ones.
Sorry, I think that's 3.
Every time I had to make the decision on to kill somebody or not, I usually killed them.
I usually didn't.
You put them, like, if they were infected, your kind of ethos, if you will, was kill them before they turn.
Especially that one chick who was being loud. She was attracting the zombies.
We'll get to that. Okay. So did you give her the gun? Did you assist with the suicide?
I did not.
You did not?
No.
And why?
Because I felt like since she's alive, there's a way that we can mentally stabilize her and calm her down.
But she was bitten.
Exactly. She's infected.
Oh, yeah, she was bitten.
It would be way better to die than to go through that.
That's right. I forgot she was, but yeah, I didn't.
And it didn't give you the option to beat her head in? I mean, why waste a bullet?
I mean, there is that for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nope, you just get the choice to assist her or deny her that. So guys, I put her down for sure. I thought it was the humane thing to do.
Yeah, I did, definitely.
But we are among the minority, Rachel. Only 45% of the people gave her the gun, 55% nope.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Wow.
Also, we neglected to say 47% of the players chose Sean over Duck because they're terrible human beings, and 48% sided with Kenny, so we were in the minority there too.
Huh.
Okay, at the end of the game, this was easily one of the most lopsided decisions in the entire arc, right? So we're holed up in the pharmacy. There's Doug and Carly. What's going on here?
So we've got Carly, who is being attacked by a zombie, and then she needs the gun to be thrown at her. And then we've got Doug on the other side, who is getting beaten up by a zombie through the door because they can't hold it any longer.
You choose which one lives or dies.
That's right.
And I chose Doug, no question, because Carly knew my secret.
I actually knew this. We had an off-air discussion about this. Rachel, who did you choose?
I chose the chick. She was way better with a gun. She's faster, she's thinner, and the other guy was just kind of dopey and big. He was gonna drag the team down.
I 100% agree with you, Rachel. Like, they introduce him really late, so you have like 15 minutes with him, and you've had all this entire time to bond with Carly.
Yeah.
She's really good with a gun.
Yeah.
I don't know Doug from anybody. Yeah, but she was. I felt like she was gonna support you at the secret. I felt she was in my team.
She's kind of a snatch, so I didn't trust her.
Wow. Okay.
Again, I was hoping that she would sleep with me. So yeah.
I mean, there's
women,
that.
Better for me.
There's no time for sex during a
Ain't nobody got
I would find time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
What are you gonna do when the sun goes down? There's no TV. There's no lights. It's pretty much.
True.
It's a zombie apocalypse. I mean,
We have to continue the species.
It might be your
really,
last day alive.
Totally.
So
I like your thinking here, Rachel. So which is interesting to me. This really bummed the team out at Telltale because Doug was a representation of Sean Vanneman, who's the lead writer of this game. It was his best friend, and literally nobody chose to save Doug. 76% of people chose Carly.
So
he was just dopey and round.
Yeah, exactly.
And just kind of like burr, burr, burr. So I'm not going to choose him.
I like it. So, so literally almost nobody chose him, and that cracked me up. Okay, so it's we've gone through already hell and back. I'm already incredibly invested in this game, and episode 2 starts off with an insane decision. Do you remember this? So you're walking through the woods and you run into David, and David is stuck in a bear trap.
Oh yes.
And there are zombies on the way. You want to save him. Do you try and undo the bear trap, or do you just chop his leg off?
I undid the bear trap.
Oh, you're
That's
nice.
the college student, right?
Yep. No. It's another guy.
He's
Why
with the
do I
college
not
student.
remember these people?
So the guy at the bear trap.
Oh, I was thinking Ben.
Homeboy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we'll get to Ben. Ben gets his for sure.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ben.
Oh, Ben. This is David. We don't spend a lot of time with David.
I don't think I chopped his leg off. I'm pretty sure I undid the bear trap.
I chopped the hell out of that leg right
Yeah,
away.
100%. And
We have no time to
Yep.
think about these things.
I took his leg. 84% of people agreed with us. We took his leg. And it was interesting. That decision for me was like, oh, yeah, this game again. Okay. Yep. We're in the middle of this nightmare.
Yeah.
Because every decision, I think by nature, they try and make these decisions there's equal parts bad on both sides of the decision. But this was one clearly that they missed. And again, 84% of people took his leg. Okay. So next we run into Jolene. Do you remember Jolene? She's this emaciated, crazy woman in the camp pointing a crossbow at you. She's claiming to be
the mother or something about a daughter. They took her daughter.
She's claiming to be Clementine's mother.
That's
but
right.
she's
Okay.
not. She's
Okay.
clearly crazy, and she's pointing a crossbow at you.
Right.
What did you do? You have an option to hear her out or instruct the guys that you're with to shoot her.
She made a reprise in my game later, so I'm pretty sure I did not have her killed.
Why?
I don't know why.
Doesn't she die regardless though?
Yeah, she does, but I know that she comes back into my game a little bit later in the story when I find the camp of guys. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I did not have her killed.
I chose to save her life, but the guy next to me killed her.
Yeah, I think either way she dies right there, Rachel.
What? Really?
Yeah, I think so. It's just your involvement in her death.
Okay, so then does her story reapprise later though when you find the camp of dudes?
I don't think so. No, I think she's dead there either way.
But you find out something that has to do with her daughter. I thought we do find out something that had to do with her.
Well, she talks about how her daughter was mistreated by the other guys who have this imaginary wonderful camp and stuff.
They had like raped her or something. I thought that we go to their camp and we find evidence of the little girl being there.
Don't think that's the case. I think she's dead either
have
way.
that.
At any rate, the chat overwhelmingly is chiming in here. I've been negligent in looking at the chat, but Manic Garth says he's not sure. Who else? Who else here?
I don't think I had
Manic
her
Garth
killed.
had her killed. I did instantly. I just chopped a man's leg off. I don't have time for some woman waving a crossbow in my face. I'm killed. Yeah, and I didn't actually.
Hey, better yet, free crossbow.
Amen, John. Amen. You can reuse those things. So yeah, it was a really easy decision, and in fact, not one that that was one of the timer went. It went really slowly. Like the minute that decision popped up, I'm like, shoot her. I don't have time for this. I'm over it. So all right. So guys, this decision was so jarring to me, I can't even help it. So at this point, we're on that farm with the crazy the crazy people who are cannibals, right? Do you remember this? We're trapped in a small room. So we found out that they're cannibals at this point, which is
okay.
Can we just for 2 seconds talk about that scene where you find that guy with his legs chopped off upstairs and he's dragged himself? It's the worst.
It's
I love it. I
scary.
love it.
Yeah.
Were either of you able to save Clem from eating human flesh?
No.
Yes.
You
Really?
You were. Okay.
She spat it out.
Okay.
I think I was slow.
Did you stop Larry from eating the flesh?
No.
Me neither. I let him eat it.
I don't care about that
Yeah.
guy.
Me neither.
Jerk.
From the beginning, I let him eat it. But I for some reason, I don't know if the game didn't communicate to me how to prevent her from eating it. But yeah, I let her eat it inadvertently, which was the worst. She did that, spit it out. It was terrible. We're now caught. We're on to their little scheme. People are for dinner, and we're trapped in a room with Larry and his daughter and Kenny. Right. Larry has a heart attack.
Yes, yes.
And by all accounts, he's dead, but we're not 100% sure. You can choose to do one of two things. You can A, do CPR and help bring him back, or B, you can drop a salt lick on his head and put him out of his misery.
What did you guys do?
Pretty sure I killed him right away.
I remember Kenny ended up doing it, and I was kind of like, calm down or whatever.
Okay, so you chose to save him. You did the CPR, and in the background, you kind of see Kenny sleeking by, and then just BAM!
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me. I'm trying to see what my decisions were.
I didn't want to be trapped in a room while you look. I didn't want to be trapped in a room with a zombie of his size. He was terrible anyway, but he was also huge. And I have no part of me was excited to be trapped in a room. I agreed with Kenny, and Kenny remembered that.
Okay, yeah. It says you restrained Lily while Kenny crushed his head. So that was my decision.
So you helped too.
I did.
Can we talk about that noise too? That faux sound of his head just
I love
exploding.
that sound. Oh, it sounds so good.
Unbelievable.
I did not feel bad when he died, though. Did not feel bad at all.
No,
Okay.
no.
So all three of us helped kill Cut.
Well, I didn't help him, but Kenny killed him. I was like, calm down, whatever. I was always a pacifist in this.
I see you killed Larry. You helped. You
I
helped
had
in
no
that
choice.
process.
Yeah.
So actually, 68% of people actually chose to help Larry.
Ugh.
Yep, I know. We're among the minority.
Why?
All right, guys. So we're leaving the farm. Things are terrible. We're getting the hell out.
Yep.
They're the two brothers show up. You can kill one or both of the brothers. What did you do?
I think I saved both, right? And one dies out of default.
Okay. So yeah, you can't. I think one dies regardless. I
Yeah.
killed the first one, but very intentionally, and let the second one live.
Yeah, the first one I threw the pitchfork in the haystack next to him.
Yep.
And the other one I just let him die.
Do you remember, Rachel?
I don't remember that at all.
Okay.
No, but I probably killed them.
Just ended them. Just don't
Yeah.
want them coming after
They
you.
meant so little to me. I killed them and went on my way.
They're eating people. They
Yeah,
probably
they're
should
scary.
die.
Yeah.
The game does this really interesting, though, that Clem is terrified of you in this moment. And so I actually couldn't bring myself. I wanted to kill the second
I remember
one.
this now, because yeah, when it was in the, was it in the trying to remember where it was in.
We're leaving their ranch.
Yeah, one was in the barn. And then
It was in the
Oh, yeah.
barn, yeah, in the hayloft barn area. Yes. Okay, now I remember.
So, and I think this was incredibly heartbreaking when you have to approach Clem about the death afterward. That's one of those. That's where this game is the most magic, is your relationship with Clementine. I've arguably never cared for anybody in a game more than I cared for Clem.
Really?
I really did.
I am terrible.
disagree.
I hated Clem. I
I
hated
agree
her.
with you.
How do you hate Clem? People are terrible.
She was
kind of annoying.
She was constantly judging me
I'm
for
leaving the
everything
show.
I did.
I'm out of here.
She was always judging me for everything I did, even things I would do to keep her alive. She was judging me. She was just empty baggage, weight, and
I
just.
didn't like her voice.
I had no need for her. She was constantly just
Carrie,
making,
you're heartless.
making my life during this zombie apocalypse worse.
Man, you are.
I would have loved to have left her with somebody.
I am
and
not
gone about my
hanging out
way.
with you in the inevitable zombie apocalypse, because we know it's going to happen, right?
Me and kids don't get along. I
Okay.
don't like them.
All
And
right.
so when you give me a video game where I have to babysit the whole time,
Well, here's a question. How old is she?
She's 9.
Yeah.
She's 9, so you can't probably trade her for supplies. That might be a little too young.
I would have tried
But
if I could have.
yeah, you could trip her as you're if they're like chasing you. You can easily like trip her or outrun her. I mean, that's the grand old bear in the woods,
Yeah.
quandary.
She, I didn't need
Yeah.
her in my life.
Me neither. Well, I guess she was important.
The chat's also saying that she's fairly annoying. Maniac and the Rich 21. I loved her. I authentically wanted to protect her and keep her safe.
She was judging me.
I don't think she's 9 and she's seeing terrible things.
Well, like that time when we found the supplies in the car, and it's like, look, I'm taking these supplies to keep your ass alive. Don't judge me. And she totally judged me.
So you did
That is the next decision, as a matter of fact. So we leave. I'm glad you went there. So we're leaving the farm. We find a car full of food and supplies, like the lottery. We just won the lottery in the zombie apocalypse. It's all there. You have the opportunity to take the stuff or leave it.
I took it the first time, and then she judged me. I was like, damn it, Clementine, and I restarted my game.
Oh,
I didn't do any restarts. I took whatever I chose. That was my canon. That was my decision. I was going that way.
I had to because of her.
Carrie, what did you do?
I didn't take anything.
You left it.
Yeah, I left it.
Explain that decision to me.
I left it because I felt like I wouldn't want people to come to my camp and steal things. So it probably belongs to people or wouldn't be so fresh. So I left it.
I'd figure they were dead because they left the car running with the lights on, the doors open, and all of their stuff.
Yep.
If it's a zombie apocalypse, I am not leaving my stuff under any circumstance. So I
Yep.
just figured they were dead. Who would leave their car full of fresh supplies? They're dead. They're not going to use it. I got people to take care of.
But it's so I'm with you. My prevailing ethos was take care of my group first and foremost. Everybody else can go to hell.
Really?
So yeah, I didn't hesitate on this one at all. But it is heartbreaking when Clem talks to you and she says, "But what if it's a family?" Just coming off the heels of having lost her own family.
Still, shut up, kid. What do you know
Clem
about
liked
surviving?
me for that. She was like, yeah. She
I'm sure
smiled
she
at
did,
me.
right? Because you're doing the right thing, with
Yeah.
the quote unquote right thing. But
She doesn't know what the right thing about surviving is.
this is what I mean. I agree, right? The zombie apocalypse, there are situational ethics, right? So I also took the food. I didn't flinch, and she was incredibly disappointed.
Yeah.
It hurt my heart a little bit. So I'm glad that you didn't flinch there either.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting into episode 3. At this point, how are you guys? Are you enjoying the game?
Yeah.
Are you invested? Where's your headspace here?
Yeah, I loved it all the way through.
Okay. You from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. So my history with games, I probably don't beat 60-70% of the games I start. I knew that this was really interesting, but episode 3 is where I started to realize there was going to be no good end for anybody at all, and I really needed to see how it played
That's
out.
what I like.
Yes.
I like it. I know that they're gonna all die.
Yeah.
All right, so you're with Kenny. This is where we start. We start episode 3 with Kenny. We climb up. We're on a truck, and you mentioned this earlier, Rachel. There's this girl flailing her arms, screaming. She's clearly surrounded by zombies, and your choices are A, put her down and attract the zombies, or let her be zombie bait and die a horrible death.
Couldn't you yell out to her as well? I thought you could also.
I think you could, but she couldn't hear you. It was really binary. It was you shoot her, draw Walker's attention, or you just let her be a distraction. Just let her.
I let her be a distraction.
I think I put her down.
You put her down?
That's
Yeah.
nice of you.
That is nice of you.
Oh, I didn't do it because it was nice. I just like shooting people.
People's true colors come out when you talk about the end of times, right? I genuinely enjoy shooting people.
Yeah.
You let her go. She served a distraction.
Yeah, because I needed as much time as I can get.
I was with you.
So-
I was 100% with you. She's going to die either way. It's going to be a little bit more painful, but it allows us great is good for the greatest amount of people that I know.
But plus, she adds to the zombies, so she then becomes an extra zombie that you have to deal with.
One
she was
extra
easy
zombie.
peasy.
One
Shot.
extra zombie is so important. That one extra zombie could be that one zombie that bites you.
I agree. I need the time more than I'm concerned about one incremental zombie. I shot her, and so did 40 other percent, meaning 60%. Oh no, so I let her go. 60% of people let her go. 40% put her down, like shooting people, like Miss Rachel. Okay, so do you guys remember this next beat? We're driving. We're in the RV. Things go a little crazy. Lily freaks
Oh, yes.
the fuck out.
This is where I really
Yes.
got pissed off at the game.
Why?
Because again, no matter what I did, it was the same exact outcome.
So paint me a picture. Who's alive here for you? Lily's talking to.
Everybody's alive except for Larry, the old guy.
Okay, no, but it's she either kills.
So Ben's alive, Lily's alive.
Right.
Katja, Kenny, Duck, Clementine.
But it's Doug or Carly is alive for one of you.
Carly's
She shoots.
alive.
Oh, Carly's okay.
Oh, I have Doug the whole way through.
Okay, so you have Doug, except right here she freaks out and
At
kills
Ben.
at Ben.
Yeah.
And she kills
Doug.
Doug for you.
Carly, who
for,
was my girlfriend.
Right.
She shot my girlfriend.
Well, I mean, they were getting
So
there.
I left her ass on the side of the road with nothing.
That was my question. Do you
Don't
leave her or do you
shoot
take her?
The one girl that's gonna sleep with me, and you shoot her.
It's all sexually motivated.
It
It's
is,
not,
it
it's not
is.
survival.
It
It's
is,
sexual.
Because in my,
So I left her ass.
All right.
in my storyline, Lee has a crush on Lily.
Ugh, Lily was
Yeah,
a
okay.
bitch.
Yeah, maybe that's because Doug was saved.
Lily was awful. She
Yeah.
was a bitch to me the whole time.
What did you do, Carrie? Did you leave or did you take her?
I wanted to leave her at that point, but I took her because I felt bad. I would never leave someone alone because I'm a nice person.
Well, what are you going to do with her once you take her?
Well, what we did, like leave her stuck in the RV, which obviously backfired for me.
Because she goes and stealing the RV. She steals it regardless, right? But I decided that she needed to, I also couldn't bring myself to leave her,
Yeah.
even though she was crazy. And in retrospect, that's one of the decisions that I actually regret. I should
Me
probably
too.
just left her. I'm
Me
just
too. I was like,
like, she's a
biatch.
bad element here. We don't
Yep,
need her.
Nope. No loose cannons.
All right. So next, we find the train. Kenny's clearly off his rails here,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's they've actually got these decisions backwards. So I'm going to take a step back here on their actual site. They've got it wrong. So we find out that Duck, who they spent the entire beginning of this episode really endearing Duck to you. Remember, he calls you Batman. He does the investigation with you. They really go out of their way to make him
Made
likable.
him more annoying for me. It's like, get this kid away from me.
See, for me, I thought it actually worked, but I thought they were very much telegraphing that this kid was super dead.
Yeah.
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 So we find out that he's been bitten. Do you guys remember what happens around this piece?
Katja loses her shit, and then you.
By
end
loses her
up-
shit, you mean she shoots herself in the
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
Katja kills herself when she finds
That's
that
so
Duck's.
horrible.
It's
she has
terrible.
a husband to live for, and she's just like, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree,
Well,
right?
she
I mean,
was a mail order bride that gained a lot of weight anyway, so she didn't have a lot of depth.
There's zero. Yeah, you're probably right, though. She did sound a little mail order bridey. I kind of like it.
Yeah, and then you take Duck into the woods, and it's either you or Kenny that has to shoot him.
It has to be you. I chose me. You can't let a father kill his own son.
What I did? Oh, you killed his son so he didn't have to. Okay,
Yeah,
so
see.
I killed Duck. Yeah.
You killed Duck. I think
Yeah.
that's the only humane thing to do. I agree.
What
You
is the
cannot
percentage
make a father shoot his own child.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put, and for me, this was also zero hesitation. This was one of the easier decisions in the game. We and about 80% of other people shot Ducks. Only 20% were terrible human beings and made him do it. Selfish, terrible human beings. Man, that was dark.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was dark. Well,
I
you know,
loved it. This is when the game was really like, yeah, we're gonna totally just sucker punch you.
Well, you know what was interesting too? It wasn't like you chose to shoot Duck, and then it just went into a cutscene and then just showed you shooting Duck. They made you pull out the gun and aim the crosshairs and shoot a child. They made you go through those actions. And
Yeah.
hit me right here. Just
He
rough,
looks really ghastly.
rough.
Sad.
Okay, so now Kenny's just, I mean, as any human being would
He
be,
shuts
he's
down.
really razzled, right?
Same.
Going a little crazy on the train. What do? You can reason with him, or you can straight up just go to blows. You can throw hooks and fight him, knock some sense into him. Do you
what
remember
did I
this?
do?
I didn't. He never fought me, so I think
You
it's
talked him
saying,
down.
Like he decides to kind of agree with me or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I talked him down.
Yeah.
Well done, peaceful ladies. I just
Yeah.
punched him in his face, as guys need to do from time to time.
Right,
John will
right.
tell you. I mean, if you have an argument with a guy, you just punch him in the face, and then you're done with it.
You know
You're just
what?
done.
If when you're doing guy arguments, sometimes that's the best way to end all of it. Just go to blows, and everything's good at the end.
Yeah, exactly, and then you're boys when
you
you're
guys
done.
are so easy like that
That's
because
true.
you don't like hold grudges and it's just over.
Yeah, we hold grudges.
You guys are the walking. Carrie will remember that.
That's true. Remember that.
It's about 55% of players out there fought him. So you guys are among the minority. All right. So at this point, we're escaping. We've run into Omid. Do you remember this? Omid's
Yes.
hurt his leg.
Yes, and his lady friend, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever her name
she's
was.
pregnant, right?
I don't remember her being pregnant. She could have been.
I feel like it's totally insinuated that she's pregnant. Like she hesitates drinking the alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was.
But they never say it directly. But
Interesting. For whatever reason, I didn't even pick up
I
on
noticed
that.
that because she vomited.
Let's ask the chat. Do you think she's pregnant?
I think,
I think
she
a
was.
woman knows. We women, we know what's up.
Rachel was all happy about that. The chat's fantastic. Thank you guys for keeping signing off on all these terrible decisions that you have to make in this. So Omid's injured. His leg's really screwed, and those two are running toward the train as we're leaving. Right, and you have an opportunity to help Krista or Omid. Which do you choose?
I chose Omid because I pushed him off the bridge, so I felt kind of culpable for his leg being fucked up.
Excellent.
So I was like, I'll help you out.
You're kind of making up for it, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says I helped him get to the train.
You helped Omid then.
Yeah, I
Okay.
must have. Yeah.
I also helped Omid.
And that won Krista's favor because we helped her man friend.
Really?
Why did you help Omid as opposed to Krista?
I don't know.
Okay.
I
That's
don't know
fair.
why I did.
For me, it was a knee jerk. I felt like he was hurt, so I had a better chance, and she was able-bodied, so I had a better chance of saving them both if I lended assistance to Omid. Plus, he was a charming son of a bitch, wasn't he? I liked
I liked
Omid.
him.
I liked him too.
Chat's pretty
funny.
sure that Krista was pregnant.
Thank you, chat. All right, so at this point, I'm in. I'm finishing this game. There's no way that I'm not beating The Walking Dead coming to 4, and we're really starting to see kind of that back third where everything's really fucked.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this next decision was really interesting. So we get to that safe house, if you will, and we find a zombie who's chained up. He's an emaciated little boy. Looks a lot like Duck.
Yeah.
You're there with Kenny. What do you do in this situation? You can put this kid down because he's clearly just chained up and he's moving around, but he's weak enough that he can't go anywhere. It doesn't pose a threat, but you need to put him down. Do you do it, or do you have Kenny, who just lost his son,
No,
shoot the
I'm
kid?
pretty sure I did it.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it myself.
Okay. You and 75% of people also choose to shoot him. I actually had Kenny do it.
Really?
Yeah, and here's where I was coming from.
Maybe
I thought it was
closure.
exactly. It was some much needed catharsis, right, to get over that. And so, and Kenny, he actually profusely thanks you for it afterward.
Really? Oh.
He does. Just hey, thanks. I really needed that to get through it.
What
so.
better way to get over the fact your son just died by go killing another kid?
Yeah, kill kids.
Way to go.
That's excellently said, John.
It'll solve all your problems.
So, but we need a doctor. Omid is in real bad shape, and we're wandering around, and we find that old man, that doctor, and his group of cancer survivors,
Yeah.
right, that he's taking care of. You have two ways to reason with him. We can lie and threaten, or we can just be straight and be like, man, I need some help.
I was straight.
I was too.
Okay? Why?
I just didn't have time for bullshit.
Yep, that's
Like,
how
look,
it felt.
this is how it is. You're gonna help me or not?
Yep, I think
how I
I was actually at 100% the same way. Like I just hey, look, I need some help. Yeah, I don't have time to threaten you, or
Yeah.
that's not going to get us anywhere.
Well, he also had like a gun to my head, so I thought if I lied and he found out, he would do something.
I didn't
awful.
think first of all, he was a doctor and he was like 140 years old. He's like a crypt keeper. I didn't think he had it in him to pull the trigger.
But then he
Right.
takes your boat at the end.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Angry.
So you guys both were straight up and gained his support by being honest.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So 66% of players were rational and honest, like the
Nice.
three of
Good
us
job,
good
guys.
folk.
Good
Exactly.
job.
It's just a lot about society, these percentages,
I
doesn't
know.
it? Okay, here's one that was very divisive. So I had a group of friends that played this game with me, and we fought on this point for hours. We'll be succinct here, but I'm really curious to see what you guys did and why. So you have a chance. We've got to go to Crawford. Remember, Crawford's this isolated
Yeah.
town where apparently they've got food and supplies and medicine and guns. But we know for a fact, because we ran into that girl who thinks she's from I don't know, Assassin's Creed. She's got that.
Molly.
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
Molly.
yeah.
We run into Molly, and she says that they hate kids there.
I thought she was gonna sleep with me too.
Did you?
Really? Man, I have no interest in women.
My character was a player.
I love men.
I love it. Okay, okay, so you're hoping Molly's going to sleep with you, and you have a choice to go to Crawford. And you don't have a choice. You're going to Crawford. It's much needed. Do you bring Clementine and intentionally endanger her in Crawford, where we're on record for the fact that they hate children, or do you leave her behind with a gun and in Ben's care, who's proven to be inept over and over and over?
Oh, actually, I think I did bring Clementine.
You brought her to danger.
I had taught her how to shoot.
I brought Clementine as well.
What is wrong with you people? You know that there's going to be a
Well,
conflict.
first of all, we
could've
didn't
died.
like her, so.
Yeah.
Oh
we
yeah,
kind
you
of-
don't care if she
I was
dies.
at peace with her death before it even was going to happen.
no
but
idea
I
how
had taught
heartless
her
this-
how to be a good shot.
And what happens if Omi dies, and then she becomes a zombie?
She's there with Ben.
Ben was
Ben
an
is
idiot.
useless.
Ben is useless.
Ben was an
I
idiot.
couldn't agree more. Ben was useless, but so I'm among the vast minority. Only 25% of players left her with Ben. My rationale was, look, I'm almost 100% sure I'm walking into conflict. Or I can leave her with a gun. She's proven that she's a good shot, and there's a chance and a high likelihood that nothing's going to happen. So for me, I agonized about this one a long time, but at the end, I felt she'd be better off safe at the house. Not so much.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys didn't like Clementine. What's wrong with you? All right, so this is, speaking of Ben, we're all three of us are on record saying the guy's wholly inept.
Yes.
And that'll be interesting to see how that informs your next decision. So we have a chance. Ben is basically begging you to let him fall to his death. We've got him by the arm. We're holding him there. And he's got this, like, let me do this. You know, he can either fall to his death and be that additional distraction, or do you pull him up and save his inept ass?
Dropped his ass.
You did.
Yep.
I wanted to drop him, but I thought he might be useful as like a sacrifice later. That's really what I thought. So I saved him.
Dropped
He was
him.
useful as a sacrifice right then. I'm with Rachel. I'm curious to see what the chat thought about that too. I'm interested. Did you guys, you looking at the chat? Did they drop him as well?
I don't know yet. They're
I don't know.
talking
They
about
didn't-
having, most of them took Clementine.
Most
with
of them took, yeah. I think 75% of people did. I'm not surprised by that. But again, to me and my feeble brain, it made sense to leave her at home. Yeah, I also let Ben fall, and that was a terrible evisceration. Like, they just tore him to pieces.
Oh, see, I missed all that.
He
because-
deserved it.
So he's in my episode 5.
Right, which we'll get into to see
Yeah.
who's with you in your episode 5 for sure.
Rich says he dropped him like a brick.
Yeah, Rich. Yeah, I was done with him at
Hayden
that point.
saved him.
I'm with Hayden.
Maniac
Dog
Garth
for it,
dropped
dog for it.
him.
Lobster dog.
Excellent. Okay. It looks like quite a few people actually chose to save him. 67% of people pulled him up, which was shocking to me because he was so inept. He put your whole group in danger so many times. And I thought TellTale did a really great job here in illustrating the fact that he wanted to do this. Like, hey, I know I'm a complete fuck up. Let me do this for the group, right?
Yeah.
But you saved him, Carrie. You had him in 5. That's going to play
I
out.
believed in him.
It's going to play out very interestingly.
Yeah.
So far, I think Carrie's the best person of the three of us. I'm on record here. So this is a zombie trope. The next decision was a trope that I should have seen coming. Like, I knew Duck was dead.
Yeah.
I should have seen the fact that you, as Lee, would be bitten. I didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming. I don't know how you could.
Right.
I had heard the ending was going to be shocking and people cried, so I was thinking it was going to be Clementine.
Yep. Yeah, I thought maybe Clem got bit too.
disappointed
That would've been
wasn't.
fine, but it
I
wasn't.
know.
Well, let me backtrack 2 seconds here. So I almost put this game down, actually. This game got super dark in this episode. So once we shot that child, a little bit later, there's this scene where you were burying the zombie body. Do you remember this part? And it's got the violins are swelling. And it gives you the opportunity, as you're digging the grave, to keep looking at the child. That icon keeps popping up
yeah.
over and over. And it's looping those terrible violins. And I'm like,
I thought it was a glitch.
this is awful. No, just lets you continue to
why are
look
they
at what
doing
you
this to
just
me?
did. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
At any rate, you fast forward a little bit, we find out that we've been bitten, and the group runs into you.
Yeah. I told the truth.
Do you tell them that you're bit, or do
I
you?
told him flat out, like, look, I've been bitten, y'all.
Yep.
This was easy for you. You didn't even flinch.
Same here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
No
I knew
pause.
I was their leader. They would not. None of them would be alive if it wasn't for me. So I knew that they wouldn't usually probably ditch me yet.
Chat, what did you do? I'm curious. Look, 80% of people showed him the bite. It was interesting. For me, this is one of the longest, like, whereas that timer was going down, I really stressed this one. But look, Kenny's a little crazy anyway. I tell him I mean, I don't know. He might put an axe through my head on the spot. So
I'd be a little scared being in a zombie apocalypse with you, because if you were bitten and you didn't tell me.
well, stay with me. I agree, right? So yeah,
Right.
watch out for me. But here's the thing. So you can tell them that you're bitten. What I did, there's kind of two choices, right? At that point, you can tell them you were bitten if you're not, and then you can choose what level of help you want from them.
Why didn't you just cut his arm off? Like, oh crap, done.
Well, well, we're going to get to that. My rationale was this. I was going to not tell them that I was bitten, but I don't want to put them in danger in any way. So I told all of them I'm going off on my own.
Really?
Yeah, because look, I thought, the way I finally rationalized it was, if I tell them I'm bitten and Kenny freaks out and hurts me in some way, he hinders my ability to save Clementine. That's the driving factor for me here. Save Clem, save Clem. So I lied, but then made sure that I distanced myself from that whole group so they weren't in danger at all.
So at the end, you ended up going alone?
I went by myself.
Oh, okay.
I went with Krista and Omid. Kenny left me, even though we were really, like, again, when I was talking about before, I had done everything on Kenny's side, everything for Kenny, and at the end, for some reason, he listed all these decisions I'd made and why he was going to ditch me, which were not decisions I'd actually made. So that disappointed me because it pissed me off. And Krista and Omid, I was kind of a bitch to them the whole time because I didn't like either one of them. They were useless to me, yet they were the ones that stuck with me. And they're like, oh, you've been only good to us. We're going to come with you. And I was like, why? I've been really mean to you guys. So the game kind of did some weird hiccup bug or something around that, and that was disappointing to me because I'd spent so much time getting on Kenny's good side.
Interesting. That's a
He
bummer.
was,
It really
the
breaks the
strongest
experience.
of the group, and
That's
so I
true.
wanted to be. I was like, I'm going to do everything to keep Kenny on my side because he's the strongest in this
That's
group.
how I felt too, and then it ends up being useless
And he didn't
anyway.
go. So who went with you? Krista and Omid were with you coming
yeah,
into
that's
episode
it.
5.
Just those two.
Who went with you, Carrie?
Well, my gift of gab, they all came with me.
I am sticking with you in the zombie apocalypse, 100%. So I went off by myself, and I think that sets the tone. I thought this was a neat experience while we were playing at the time. It was part of that social zeitgeist. You're playing with a bunch of people, and you can say, dude, who's with you? Because you have no idea now how episode 5 is going to play out based on what members of the group. And it comes into probably the worst scene in video game history at the beginning of episode 5. Do you guys remember this? Okay, so you make your way back to where those doctors are.
Yeah.
You're back in that where they're holed up and there's some medical supplies. And in my game, and I'm curious to see how it happened in yours, my game, I'm by myself and I look at a saw and I have the decision to
Oh my
either
gosh.
saw my own arm off in an effort to slow down the infection or keep my arm and maybe be better equipped to find Clem. And
I sawed that shit off.
well, in your game, you were with people, so who helped
Yeah.
you saw it off?
I don't know who helped. I just remember sawing it off.
And I had the option between Kenny or the chick, Krista.
Krista.
Yeah, I think I had Krista because she's stronger than Omid was. So I'm pretty sure I had Krista saw it off.
Yeah, Krista sawed mine off too.
And I think you have a choice with Kenny. I think she ends up doing it regardless because he gets too queasy and because it's like sawing his friend's arm off. He can't do it because of that relationship that you guys have. So for me, this is like, without question, one of the most impactful scenes in video game history for me. So what he does is Lee slowly rolls up his sleeve
Oh gosh.
and he just stares at his own arm. And then it makes you pick the saw up. And then it makes you drag the icon over to your arm. And it's like, press X to saw.
Yeah.
And you press X and it rumbles. Like it, you get that
No
forced
wonder
feedback
for
on the
you.
bone. And he screams. And it's like, press X to saw. And it's, and it's shaking. And it's the
love it.
worst. It is a terrifying scene. But I also cut my arm off.
So I mean, in hindsight, do you think that there's an option to keep your arm?
You can keep your arm.
Huh.
You absolutely can. If one of my really good friends kept it, and his rationale was, look, I'm bit. The likelihood of me surviving, I'm probably going to bleed out anyway if I cut my own arm off. I'm better equipped to save Clem and get her in a good position with my arm.
I was just thinking Herschel the whole time in the Walking Dead TV show, how his leg got cut off.
Yep.
So I thought maybe I can live that way.
Oh, interesting. That actually informed your decision then. Okay. I didn't have that when I was playing, and so I took a risk. What did the chat do? I'm curious to see.
They sawed it
They
off.
all sawed it off.
Hayden kept it because he didn't want anybody to get suspicious, but everybody else.
Suspicious. That's cute.
Everybody else cut it off.
Hayden also didn't tell people about the bite. Thank you, Hayden. Somebody's backing me up here. Look, 70% of the player base chopped their own arm off.
Yeah.
Okay. This is just, this is ending very badly at this point. So the next thing, obviously, you run back in. When you were by yourself, you run back into your group. You already are with Kenny and whatnot. There's an exchange. Do you guys? You can either keep your temper and calm him down, or you can like really lose it with Kenny. I thought this decision was dumb, but what did you guys end up doing?
I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. It was like one of those like, hey, we need another decision point here.
Yeah, I don't remember
if my
Is it
my
to
thing
defend
says,
Ben?
I don't remember what the skirmish is about, but you're arguing about what we should do, best course of action kind of going
don't
forward.
remember.
And what happens is either you have a bust in your hand, and either you throw it against a wall or he does, and it just shows that next room because you're kind of stuck up there.
I threw the bust.
So you
says
lost your temper.
The way me and Kenny broke was he was lost to the herd trying to save Krista.
I think that's.
And that's
really?
all. That's how I know me and him, we split.
He was trying to save Krista?
Apparently, yeah.
He was trying to save Ben for me. That's interesting.
Yep. So, but that's not this decision.
No.
Okay, yeah, I don't
This is just
remember what I did this time.
72% of people lost their shit and fought him, and
I probably did
Yeah.
too because he ditched me, that jerk.
Well, you got to think like by this episode 5, he's such a jerk, and he's barely thanking you for all the things you do, all the times you put up with him, all the things that you've backed him up, and he's still a jerk to you. So you're like, fuck it. I'm going to throw the
Yes,
bus in your face.
screw that guy.
I think he illustrates just how excellent the writing in this game is, right? Because it's a very complex relationship. Like I think most characters in games are fairly two-dimensional, if you will, but there's a lot of facets of your relationship with Kenny. I mean,
Yeah.
like you would with somebody in real life,
He's
right?
a
Like
tough
sometimes
guy.
you're friends, and sometimes you're frenemies, and sometimes you hate each other, and you've got different agendas. I thought he was terrific. Okay, so we're off looking for Clem's kidnapper, abductor, and so. Do you guys remember this scene where you find the guy?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
I loved
what happened?
it. That's where a lot of your decisions depends on what he's talking about. He was pissed off at me because even though I didn't take any of the stuff in his car, he blamed me for it, and he had. What did he had his wife's head in a bowling bag or something?
Yeah.
So this guy was the guy who owned that car, that lottery we talked about before.
That had all the stuff in it.
He just lost his marbles, and he wants a daughter.
And he was talking to his wife's head, which was in a bowling bag.
Awesome.
It was, the guy's
probably
clearly
my favorite scene in the game.
I could not agree with you more because to your point, he recaps all of and it shows that your decisions affect people, even if it's not a visible, affect. You're impacting other people's lives, and I thought that was really interesting. So he goes down this laundry list of things that you've done that are terrible. I mean, are terrible, even if we had the best intentions, right? Like for me, it named that you let Clem eat human flesh, right?
Yeah,
Wholly
he named
unintentional.
that.
So he mentions that you stole that, and ultimately, because we stole that stuff, we got his wife killed, and now he feels like he's going to protect Clem because you, as Lee, as Rachel, as Carrie, are terrible.
Are not good enough fake parents.
Yeah, he still blamed me, even though I did not take his crap.
This was unbelievably well voiced and incredibly dark.
It was awesome.
So at this point, what do you guys do? Because you're faced with, he says, give me all of your weapons. You've got a gun on you and an axe. Do you give him both? Do you give him one, or do you give him none?
I stupidly gave him all of it.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Why did you do that, Carrie?
I think I was just worried that he would notice that I still had something and more issues would ensue. So I wanted to talk mano-y-mano.
Yeah,
So that's kind of how I felt.
I think I only gave him one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did too. I kept the hatchet, and I put the gun up for good measure. 56% of people surrendered all their weapons. Yeah, and I wasn't. I'm with you, Rachel.
Not around that crazy.
But I like the explanation that you can talk mano a mano, kind of talk him down. So then he goes through this laundry list of why you're terrible, despite your best intentions. I'm curious to see, it's not one of the major decisions, but what tone did you take with that guy? Because you can kind of say, you can take this real apologetic tone, you can take this righteous, indignant tone, like, look, man, and I'm curious to see, how did you guys remember responding to him as he went through all of these reasons you're terrible?
I try to be very apologetic and try to reason with him, but when someone's got all these screws loose, you're done with it. So
Sure.
I was just trying to make him calm enough so I can kind of get out of there with Clem.
Okay.
I would go back and forth.
Yep.
That's kind of like how I do with a lot of times when I'm fighting with somebody. I will be apologetic, and then I'll be aggressive, and then I back off, and then I'm aggressive. It kind of throws people off, so I took that approach with him.
Okay, so you keep him on his toes a little bit,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
I was tired. I was really just, at this point, I just cut my own arm off. I mean, this game's really rattled me a little bit. I just kept taking this, look, man, I'm sorry. I tried to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I must have said sorry like 9 times.
Yeah.
So then how do you get out of this situation?
By killing him.
Did you kill him or did
I killed him.
Clementine?
Clem.
Pretty sure I did it.
Clem killed her for you.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I didn't want Clem to see me kill someone because every time I do that, she's like, so I let her do
Okay.
it. I let
How
her
did
do
that
it.
play out? She peeks out from behind, right? You're looking at this guy. She peeks out from behind. You can note. You motion her to like grab the gun on the table, or how did she do it?
I motioned the wine bottle like a dumbass, and she hit him, and then I had a fight with this guy, and she ends up shooting him with my gun on the table.
Wow.
Maybe she did. I can't remember. I thought I actually was the one to kill him.
You can for sure.
That's what I'm pretty sure I did.
What I motioned for was the lamp or something on the table. She hit him, and then I jumped at him with the axe,
Yeah.
and then knocked him to the ground. And then I ended up picking up the gun once he was already useless.
Okay.
And I shot him, and which was interesting
That's
to
what I
me.
did.
The dialogue right after that with Clem is fantastic because you go to apologize again, like, hey, I know I just took another life. It's not what we do. But she stops you and she says, I get it. Like, I understand.
He had kidnapped her.
And it's just that watershed moment for me with Clem where you say, she is understanding this world and you've done everything in your power to have her be a little badass with a gun and understands kind of how the world is now. And I thought it was an unbelievable moment where she just stops you. So we're coming to the end.
All right.
Very end of the game. This
Yeah.
is arguably one of the best endings to
Yes,
any
it
game
was really good.
of all time. So that zombieism is spreading and Lee's aware of it. And he makes the decision that he is now a danger to Clem and he handcuffs himself to a pipe.
I had Clem handcuff him.
Oh, okay. Clem handcuffs me. You're right. You're right. You're right.
okay.
But you kind of instruct her to do it.
Yeah, Mhm. yeah.
You're just laying there. So you're now Lee, who's very soon going to turn into a zombie.
And you're like, darn, that arm didn't do anything. And that really upset me. I was like, I could have saved my arm.
And you have the decision to either have her walk away or force her to ostensibly kill her father, to put you down and make sure you don't turn.
Oh, I killed him. That's the least I can do for him.
I had her kill him.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And I think 62% of people actually had her put him down.
Really?
Why did you do it though? I think that's what's important here.
Because after everything he's done for me, that's the only way to go. Even though I think it definitely traumatized her, I thought that's the least she can do is put me out of my misery and avoid having me turn into a zombie. That's how I felt.
So it was a mercy thing.
Kind of. Yeah.
okay.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, how about you, Rachel? Why did you
It was
do
a last lesson for her to step up and be a badass. I wasn't going to be around to carry her anymore and to babysit. So if she had any way of surviving, she was going to have to learn how to finally kind of like just go into a special place and do it.
I was half that, half the whole. Again, it's a lesson, but I also, for whatever reason, I mean, I know you don't pose a threat, you're chained, but if for whatever reason she ran back into you as a walker, I think that would also be a terrible experience. So I thought
Yeah, that's true.
this game, the ending of this is unbelievable. Like, have you guys ever played a game where there's such a tangible like farewell? Like, I mean, there was a real. Did you guys get choked up at this at all?
No.
No. God, I'm just such a
I
baby.
mean, I expected this from
I-
The Walking Dead.
I was disappointed.
that's-
I thought she was going to be the one dying. So when I got to the end and it was me, I was like, really?
I have a feeling we'll see her in season 2.
Well, yeah, they left that opening. I mean, they left the ending to be a complete opening.
Do you
for-
think that's Krista and Omid walking away?
Absolutely.
I hope so.
It'd be awesome if it wasn't. It was
would.
a bunch of zombies.
Yep. You just wanted
But-
her dead.
I think it totally was Kristen
I
and
felt
me.
bad for her.
I was really, so I've probably been a little misty in games maybe twice in my entire life. I got a little choked up here because I felt like, I honestly, and I know, like, I'd prepared her to this point, but I feel like I let her down. That ultimately I got bitten and now she's, for all intents and purposes, she's alone in the world again.
Maybe she grows up and she becomes Michonne.
What do you guys want? So, kind of, I think we've run a little bit long today, but I think it was definitely worth it to hear where you guys, and get an understanding if I'm hanging out with you in a zombie apocalypse. I'd love to hear, lastly, what do you guys want out of season 2? Because inevitably season 2 is coming. What do you want
Gosh.
out of it?
I want it to be straight onto the iPad because I was so convenient that I can play it on my iPad.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's great for planes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind them wrapping up the story with Clementine and Omid and Krista. That'd be awesome if that was them. But then I wouldn't mind in the first episode something happens and they kill off all 3 of those characters. Clementine, Krista, and Omid kill them off, and then go into a new story with new people.
Yeah, that's possible because 400 Days has 5 different mini episodes with many people, and I think we might see how they pan out as a group. And I'm thinking that's going to happen.
Oh, and lastly, did you enjoy 400 Days, Carrie? We spoke a little off air.
I need to play it.
Yes and no. I thought it was too much of a tease.
Okay.
So, but yeah, sure.
So, Rachel, do you know about this? So essentially, that's 5 mini stories.
Yeah, I bought it. I just haven't had time to play it yet.
I don't think it has the emotional impact that this game does proper, because you don't spend long enough with anybody.
But see, that's okay with me,
right?
Because I wouldn't say I had really an emotional impact at all in this game either, other than when that one chick killed my girlfriend. But other than that, I'm an emotionless bastard.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's the point of this whole episode of Game Control Rewind.
So if the new 500 Days or whatever it's called doesn't have the emotional pull, that's fine.
All right.
I still like it.
Well, this has been eye-opening to say the least. Either you guys have anything last thoughts on Walking Dead, Rachel?
No, I want more of the same. I really enjoyed my time with it.
And then fantastic game.
Yeah, it really is.
Top game of the year for you guys last year at all?
Last year, I think I gave it to Borderlands too.
Okay, I'll get behind that. This is up there for me.
It was really up there.
Yep.
I can give it that.
Carrie, do you have any final thoughts?
No, just you guys go play it and then let us know what you think with the comments.
I gotta agree with Rich though. For the next one, he's hoping for a little more action, and his decisions actually mean something later on, and we aren't funneled into the same. I would like that.
Well, I think towards the end it really does disperse. It's just the first couple episodes it didn't really matter.
I think you always end up where you're going to end up. I think the reason this game was powerful was because you felt like you were making a difference. In reality, fine, they very cleverly hide the fact that it's going to funnel back to the same point, but it was about making those decisions, and I think the game really empowered you in that sense. I think the game's fantastic. If you've been listening to this point, I feel like we just wrecked it totally, but guys, thanks for discussing Walking Dead. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Awesome. So we are back next week. What are we discussing, John, next week? John
fell asleep.
I am not. I'm actually not 100%.
I think they're talking about Fuse, possibly.
Either way, guys, come back here next week, 1-ish. We're going to have another Game Control Rewind where we're going to dive deep into it. Where can people get a hold of you, Rachel?
On Twitter, @TheRachel.
And you can follow me at KAORIOUS, Kaorius.
Excellent. I'm Patrick Dees. You can follow me at P to the D's at Twitter. And you can check out my podcast, which is Pixel by Pixel on iTunes. Guys, thanks for having been with us, and have a good one.
And don't forget to follow us at GameControl_Rewind.
Yes.
And John Quick, at
Now Quick, yes.
What is this music from?
This is from the game. This is Goodbye.
This is right after you have her put you down.
It almost sounds like
really
the music
sad.
from Sunshine.
We have to know that they had really good music, background music.
It did.
Yeah.
I loved Sunshine.
I know. Such a good movie.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.